Welcome back to CMMC Unlocked, everyone. Today, we're tackling the nuts and bolts of the System Security Plan, or SSP for short, particularly what NIST SP800-171 expects. For those just joining the journey, this is really the foundational document for most defense contractors working with Controlled Unclassified Information, or CUI. And honestly, the first stumbling block a lot of organizations hit is just figuring out what actually needs to go into the SSP.
That's right, Eric. The baseline requirements are all about documenting your system boundaries, the environment it operates in, and explicitly stating your security requirements. It's not just a paper exercise either. The plan has to be a living artifact describing what information systems are in play, what categories of CUI you handle, and where these systems actually live.
And don't forget, folks, you'll need to list every bit of CUI processed, all your external systems and public websites. It's not enough to say, we have a firewall somewhere. The expectation is you lay out business process flows, data flow diagrams, and scope diagrams. You need to give that full picture. What asset categories are in? What physical locations matter? What's encrypted and how? The more you clarify up front, the less confusion you'll hit during
Which can sound a bit overwhelming, right? But it really does make life easier down the line. Eric, you mentioned the business process flow stuff. Didn't you have a story about a contractor who sort of figured this out in real time?
Oh yes, Ruby, good memory. I was working with a contractor who had a passable SSP, but nobody on the team could actually articulate how their CUI moved through the organization. Their big breakthrough came when they added data flow diagrams. Suddenly, even the folks outside IT could see where information started, where it branched out, and, importantly, where the risks lurked. Once everyone saw the full picture, updating procedures became less piecemeal and more intentional. It was a bit of an aha moment, honestly.
That level of clarity is what's expected, even if you go a little above baseline, especially the statement on when the SSP needs to be refreshed, whether it's annually or if something significant in your environment changes. If you're managing CUI, your SSP has to keep pace with your world, not just your paperwork.
Let's add another layer here, since so many contractors are finding themselves straddling NIST SP800-171 and SP800-53 Revision 5. SP800-53r5 goes a step further. It's not just a security document. You've got to cover privacy planning, assign roles, and spell out who does what when there's a security event. It's not enough to know who's responsible in your gut. You need to document it in black and white.
That can feel procedural, but from a regulatory standpoint, it matters. 53 Revision 5 expects documentation of your security and privacy frameworks, assignment of duties, even inter-system relationships. It's that next level of maturity the government's pushing for, particularly so everyone's accountable and there's no confusion during incident response.
We saw this at eLCN Technology a while back. One organization we worked with had, let's say, flexible documentation. Nobody was clear on who actually owned the privacy impact analysis or who should step up during a data breach. Once we sat down and mapped roles per SP800-53r5, suddenly, incident management ran exponentially smoother. People didn't just know their jobs, they had clear reference points in the SSP. That's what the assessors are looking for, and it's absolutely worth the extra upfront effort.
Can I just say, assigning names never seems like a big deal until there's a fire drill. Then suddenly, there are about 18 people looking around like, is it me? Give folks roles in writing. Takes the guesswork out.
Absolutely. It's about reducing ambiguity in the heat of the moment, which, as we talked about in our last episode on incident response planning, is everything. An SP800-53r5 is also nudging organizations to consider privacy as first class, not just security bolted on. The scope's bigger, but if you already have a good 171-based baseline, you're halfway there.
Let's get into the fun or the pain of customization. The template is the foundation, but everyone seems to ask, should I add more? Will too much detail bog me down? You could tack on a signature block POA and M references, control status, update triggers, all these diagrams, even links to higher level policies. Is that helpful or just overkill?
I'm all for clarity, but if the SSP turns into a phone book, nobody's going to read it. My rule of thumb is, does it help you guide, implement, or prove control compliance? If it helps a staff member understand what they're supposed to do, or makes things obvious for an assessor, keep it in. If it's just there to look mature, maybe rethink it.
Yeah, I remember at a previous company it turned into a bit of a shouting match. Someone insisted we put in physical location maps. We're talking floor plans, and the rest of us wondered if that wasn't a bit much. But after we actually used it during an assessment, assessors found the clarifications super useful, especially for understanding asset scope. The staff liked it too. Suddenly, people knew exactly what gear was in and where to find critical systems. So sometimes that extra effort does pay off. Not always though. Don't want to design a colouring book either.
It's a balancing act, right? A policy reference here, a well-placed update statement there. The purpose is to help organizations manage their control environment, so anything that makes the SSP more actionable or understandable generally gets a regulatory thumbs up.
All too often I see SSPs where detail is lacking, and the team spends more time guessing than acting. But on the other hand, if there's so much detail people tune out, you lose them. The trick is, optimize for clarity and utility, always.
So how do you actually keep an SSP relevant over time? The magic word is routine, establishing a regular schedule for reviews and updates. The classic recommendation is annually at minimum, but realistically, you want updates after any significant changes, new tech, business unit shifts, you name it.
Couldn't agree more, Roz. And those statements in the SSP about when updates are required, those aren't just to appease an auditor, they're your early warning system. If your environment changes, your plan needs to match reality. Otherwise, you're living in the past, which is how gaps creep in.
Training is another key factor. Everyone who touches CUI or any part of your information system should actually know what's in the SSP and what controls are in place. That's how you build a security-aware culture, by making sure awareness isn't just in a binder, it's in people's heads. Training programs, regular briefings, whatever it takes to keep the whole crew rowing the same direction.
You know what's cool? Automation can keep you honest here. There are tools now that track control implementations, audit compliance, even spit out the reports you need for ongoing assessments. Way better than the old "where's that spreadsheet" panic the week before an auditor shows up.
Let's not forget, your SSP isn't an island. Best practice is making sure it aligns with your organizational policies, security, privacy, operations, the works. That means tight cross-referencing. You want to be able to say, here's our policy, here's the procedure, and here's where it maps in the SSP. It keeps things consistent, and assessors love it.
So often I find SSPs that refer to C policy XYZ without actually specifying how the policy connects to day-to-day security obligations. Streamline that. If people can follow the breadcrumbs from your SSP directly to your key security procedures, it saves confusion and makes audits infinitely smoother.
From a governance perspective, a communication plan is critical too. It's not just about drafting the SSP and locking it away. Regularly update stakeholders. Make sure folks know when something changes. People's roles and responsibilities are shaped by those updates, and leaving them in the dark puts you at risk. Transparent, regular communication keeps everyone aligned and your house in order.
And it keeps auditors a lot happier too. Trust me, less scrambling, more clarity. Everybody wins.
Since automation keeps coming up, let's get into the weeds for a minute. Automation tools are becoming more popular for a reason. They can continuously monitor your control implementation status and ping you when something's about to fall out of compliance. That means much less frantic last-minute work when it's assessment season.
Yeah, plug those in with your SIM and suddenly your SSP management system just syncs with your existing tooling, pulls data, runs reports, flags issues. It's like having a very boring, very effective little robot doing paperwork in the background. I'm here for it.
Automated workflows are key too. Schedule review cycles, assign tasks, and get notified when it's time to update. That way, your SSP never becomes stale. You cut down on manual drudgery, reduce errors, and make sure updates don't slip through the cracks. Organizations that embrace automation consistently spend less time fixing compliance issues and more time actually improving their security posture.
I might add, just make sure your automation approach doesn't introduce new vulnerabilities. Vet your tools and ensure they align with your existing policies. Done right, though, automation turns the compliance hamster wheel into something a bit more manageable and hopefully less exhausting. All right, last but far from least, none of this sticks unless you train for it and build the right culture. Develop comprehensive programs tailored for different roles: leadership, IT, and users. Everyone should know what the SSP means for them and their actions.
And a true security-first culture means onboarding, regular briefings, maybe even slipping SSP awareness into performance reviews. If people only think about this stuff right before an auditor visits, you're doing it wrong. Build it into daily life. Then your compliance becomes sustainable, not just a sprint.
Interactive exercises like tabletop scenarios based on your SSP, those are brilliant. You get to spot the gaps, get folks used to thinking on their feet, and it makes the whole thing less theoretical. I mean, it's like we talked about in the incident response episodes. Practical exercises make compliance real.
Couldn't agree more, Ruby. When staff are confident in their roles, know the SSP's content, and have practiced with real-world scenarios, organizations are much better prepared for both the expected and the unexpected. That's a wrap for today's episode. Be sure to share this with your colleagues, and as always, we'll be digging into more CMEMC and cybersecurity best practices next time.
Cheers, everyone. I always enjoy this.
Thanks.
Catch you lot next time. Don't forget to do your updates.
Take care, everyone. Stay secure.